Hello and welcome to our podcast and video brought to you by CEO Apparel in conjunction with Kuyasha Media. We're all about success being personified, man. Now this week I'm extra excited because I'm joined by a sister. I'm joined by a fellow woman with me, and not just a fellow woman. Some would say that she's actually a superwoman. Why? Because she's just recently completed her whole master's in political studies, and I feel like, wow, superhuman and superwoman indeed. Now, not only is she a superwoman, but she's a superwoman who's also a co-founder of an entity which is called MbalEnhlesis. She goes by the name of Enhle Khumalo. Did I say that correctly?
That's correct.
MbalEnhlesis.
That's perfect.
Oh, okay, great.
It's actually a mesh of two names. My business partner is also my sister.
Yeah.
Her name is Mbali.
Yeah.
And then obviously I'm Enhle. So it's MbalEnhlesis for sisters.
Oh, and I get what your parents did there. You know, Mbali and then Enhle. Pretty epic, pretty epic.
Strategy and tactics.
So your entity and your business is basically about affecting social change. We call people like you social entrepreneurs. So what type of change do you want to affect in society?
So I think as an entrepreneur, you sort of have to marry the idea of also being conscious of the social, political context and economic context of which you're functioning in. And I think social entrepreneurship allows you to not only gain profit, but gain profit and do good simultaneously. And so I'm a social entrepreneur because I care to marry those two. And so any endeavor that I go into business-wise, I don't only care to take. I always ensure that these two things run parallel, so I take and give simultaneously.
That's amazing, because I was going to ask you to please go into what social entrepreneurship is, and that's what it basically
That's
is.
what it is.
Now, let's talk, your duck business and then going into corporate gifting. How did that come about? What was the strategy in that?
I mean, these things sort of happen really organically for us. Opportunities presented themselves as we grew. I mean, they always say start with what you have. And that's what we did. So originally, I had one duck. I posted it on Twitter and, the picture went viral. And I said, I'm selling these ducks for 55 Rand. If anyone wants, I'll give a percentage of the profits to get pads for the girls at Wits University. That went viral. Next thing you know, we're getting approached by, the Department of Arts and Culture, for example, and they want us to come do corporate gifting for them. And so we're like, actually, corporate gifting it's quite an industry, like doing one-on-one sales is great and it's personal, and I think that's important in business, for your customers to know you, but it's also good to target mass sales. That's where the real success lies, so that you can give back more simultaneously.
Yeah. That's amazing. Now, let's go back to the ducks, because that's how you started. So tell us about that journey and, getting that one duck and then, distributing it.
Yeah. I mean, again, it happened very organically. I didn't really have any intention to, really go into business. I didn't think the tweet would go viral. In fact, the backstory to how the ducks happened is I went downtown and I saw material and I just bought it, and it was like this rough looking cut material, and it was Women's Day and I was at my godmother's house and I was like, it's Women's Day, what can I do just to make the world better. And then I was like, let me just try sell this duck this one duck I have, and then get pads for girls. And then obviously it went viral, and then that's how the relationship with entrepreneurship and also just having a social consciousness grew.
And I love how, I don't know, it's just your mind. Your mind is just about, okay, what can I do to affect change? It's always been about affecting change. It was never really about making a profit, which is amazing. Now, you talk about Twitter and you talk about social media, and we know, with your story and the ducks, you went viral. Now, how can other entrepreneurs use social media as an effective tool for their business?
I mean, branding is everything, especially in the social media age that we are in. So you have to just make sure that your social media works for you, not the other way around. And so you have to be intentional with what you put out there, because it's a means to an end. Look at your social media and your branding as a means to an end. If you are interested in business, if you are interested in just growing your personal brand, so people know what to expect from you when they are seeing your tweets and when you are posting on Instagram. And then from there, I mean, your business will start to grow and people will be able to associate you with one thing or another. So be very, very specific as to what you want those people to associate you with. And from there, you just nurture it and you water it and it will grow.
Amazing. Now, would you say that your competitive advantage in terms of your business is your social entrepreneurship and the fact that you want to affect change in the community?
I definitely think that's what is our niche, in the sense that that's what makes us different. Because I mean, you could argue there are a lot of people who are selling books, or there are a lot of people who are doing A, B, and C, but what makes you stand out? What makes you different? And this is something that really spoke to a lot of people when they saw that original tweet. This is what made them go all the way into my DMs and be like, hey, can I order? And the admin of having to organize, okay, where are you based? Okay, no, it'll arrive tomorrow. Let's meet here, let's meet there. And so I think there's some kind of rapport and relationship that you have with your customer when you are giving back, when there's a give back element. It makes the business very personal.
I love that. And when you're going out and trying to start up your own business as well, make sure that you figure out what your competitive advantage is. It may not be the same as Enhle's, but just try to figure out what your niche is. Now let's talk you being a woman and starting this business. Do you feel like are there enough women in entrepreneurship? Are there other women entrepreneurs that you get to interact with, and what can we do to make sure that if there isn't, there's more?
So that's a tricky one. There are definitely women, but it's like most things, it's very much male dominated. Especially within specific industries, like technology, innovation, those kind of things. It's very much male dominated. I do find in the more beauty product side of things, we're here, we're representing, and it's young black women as well, and I think that kind of representation matters. And so, but either way, you just have to play the game, because even though I'm a young black woman and I'm representing this side of entrepreneurship, when I go into my business meetings, I'm not looking at someone who looks like me, and so I have to adjust accordingly and just make sure that I remain authentic, but also, push my brand as it is.
I love that. I love how you just said, because sometimes you don't interact and you don't work with people who necessarily look like you. Now, with you being a young black woman or just a black person in general, how has that affected your business experiences? And has it?
It definitely has. Obviously, South Africa, being a young black woman right now, does come with its benefits. Many doors definitely do close, and it's still a boys' club. But it does come with its benefits, in the sense that there aren't a lot of young black women that are approaching corporates, that are approaching governments, and so they will seek you out of, the lot. And so I think just working with your identity and making sure that you're able to be fluid in it, so that, it works for you, you'll be fine.
Now, you just spoke about how you actually get sought out and sought after by these corporations. How would you tell another person who's trying to get into that space to go about it? How do they approach these big corporations?
So, and people always say this, and it just seems very cliche. But networking, network. A lot of what we got, it was through someone we knew who worked at marketing, and they had a big event happening at their corporate, and they said, oh no, we know this business, MbalEnhlesis, you're doing really good work, and then we'd come present our package to the company and they'd choose us. Sometimes it's through Facebook. Somebody works at government and they send an inbox and they're like, hey, listen, we're having a Women's Day event, we would really like you guys to do our corporate gifting for us. And so it's always been very much an authentic experience, not necessarily applying for a tender or whatever. Definitely have your paperwork in check and make sure you tick all the boxes. it's a very difficult bureaucratic process, but just get through it and you'll be fine. But it's very much networking.
And you mentioned a lot the fact that it's been an organic process for you and your sister. Can you just go in with me and just tell me, in terms of this organic process, was there a business plan? Was there a business model involved?
We've always known we wanted to be social entrepreneurs. My mom specifically has always emphasized self-ownership.
Yeah.
And so that's always been just a lingering thing in our lives, but we weren't necessarily sure how that would look like and how that would manifest. It did manifest in this way, and we ran with it. I think this is just what spoke to us most. Maybe it could have manifested in another way, but it wasn't something that was really gelling with us very well.
And there was no plan, really.
And there was no plan. It was very much, okay, it's a new day. What do we have to do? These are the orders we have. How are we going to tackle this?
And till this day, is it like that?
Today, it's, obviously the process is a little more regulated, and there are processes in place. So we now have our specific suppliers. We know who to go to when we need the dukes, cuts and stitched with absolute precision. We know who to go to for our, packaging and so forth. And so you need those people on call consistently, and we always make sure, even down to the people that we hire, representation matters. And so it's usually people of color, and it's usually disabled people, because they are highly marginalized, and people don't talk about that enough. And so we always have our people in call to make sure that it goes, because it's trial and error. Maybe the first time around we didn't like how a specific company stitched our dukes for us, and so the next time we had to switch it up because we couldn't make the same mistake twice. It's about growing, learning from your past mistakes, and pushing forward.
And you speak about growing. I want you to please tell me what's your plan for MbalEnhlesis and its growth, and how do you guys plan to grow and be fruitful?
So it's very much a group business. So it's you could call it MbalEnhlesis Group, just like there's other companies have their groups, and under that you have different branches, much like a tree. And so we'll have our dukes, then we'll have other things that fall under beauty, other things that fall under wellness and lifestyle, because we're very much about just higher consciousness, very much about meditation and just love and all the beautiful stuff. So we're just moving in that direction. So if it means that we're going to be hosting seminars at schools, teaching young kids how to meditate, how to overcome, then that's what we're going to do.
And that's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Enhle, for joining me and talking to us about your journey as well as about your entity. And I think the one thing that we can take away from this interview with Enhle is that, young black woman, you can do it, and you can even do it like in the corporate sense of things. So absolutely amazing. Thank you for joining us for our CEO Apparel podcast as well as video. We are going to be back next week with some more great entrepreneurs to speak to.